My name's Curran. I work at Next Adventure. Today we'll be talking about setting up your bindings on your snowboard. We have the Rome mod, RK1 Stale Sanderson, and we have the Rome Crux bindings. We'll be putting them together. So first thing you want to do is unwrap your new snowboard. Next, you're going to want to decide if you're regular or goofy. What that means exactly is if you're regular, your left foot will be in forward, and if you're goofy, your right foot will be forward. Typically, your dominant foot will be in the back. Cool, let's get started. So this is what you'll get in your bindings box. You'll get 2 bindings, 8 screws and washers, and 2 base plates. Depending on your bindings, you may or may not have a base plate cover. Flip that up. Some tricks I like to do to keep it out of my working space is I'll actually close the toe strap and move the heel straps behind the high back. And now I got a nice space to work with. Next, you're gonna wanna choose your stance. First, you're gonna choose the width of your stance, and then you're gonna choose the angle of your stance. So I recommend for everyone setting up their board for the first time to start centered, which will be marked on the board by some sort of X. If you know your stance, go ahead and hop to that, but starting there is a safe bet. And then this is where you're gonna decide the angle you want your binding to be at. For people just starting out, I recommend you have your front foot at about 12 degrees and your back foot at about -6 degrees. And what that means is if you look at these notches right here, you'll see zeros in the center. So if this puck lines up at 0, this binding's at 0 degrees. If I want it to be positive, I'll move to the left, and negative, I'll move to the right. Each mark is 3 degrees. So my back foot, I want it to be -6, and my front foot, I'll have at +12. Line those screws up. Next, you're gonna insert your screws and washers. Slide the screws into the concave part of the washer. I personally just like to put them all together when I take them out of the bag, and that way they're ready when I need them. Awesome. And then we'll slide those into the appropriate inserts. Next, you're gonna grab your Phillips head. So I recommend one with a larger Phillips gauge because the snowboard screws tend to be larger. And you'll start tightening them down. I say for the first go around, just get them nice and firm. I'd say hand tighten them. Don't break your back, but get them nice and solid. And then I like to do it in a X pattern to tighten the binding evenly. So I'll start in one corner and then I'll move across the binding, tighten that one, and then I bumped over to this one and I'll go back across the binding to tighten the last one. And once I've gotten them all nice and firm, I'll go back over each screw and I'll do 1/4 turn to just really lock in the bindings and make sure they don't get loose when I'm up there riding. When you're working on your snowboard, I would recommend being careful with power tools because it is possible to over tighten your board. You can do things like drill through the bottom with your screws, or even just warp the bottom if your screws are too long, or you go too far down. So a hand screwdriver should get you through any of your problems. And just like that, we're ready to rock. As you progress in your riding, I really encourage everyone to play with their stance and make it very personal. For instance, through playing with my stance, I've found that I like to have it as narrow as humanly possible on the board, and I have my front foot at 18 degrees and my back foot at -15 degrees. That leaves me nice and open for quick turns and leaves me standing tall for hard carving. Some benefits of the opposite, having a wide stance. It gives you a really wide footprint, a little more stability, gives you a little more torque when you're turning, and can help with balance on things like rails and other jibbing features. But to each their own, and I really encourage everyone to play with all stances until they find out exactly how they like it. There are infinite possibilities for you and your binding profile. If you're curious about any of them or kind of recommendations for how you want to ride, feel free to come into the shop. We can help you mount up your board for you, give you some suggestions on how to maybe find your perfect stance, and even help you modify your bindings so they fit your boots perfectly. So we look forward to seeing you in the shop and on the hill.
Like this video? Then like it and share with your friends. Want more? Subscribe to our channel here and visit nextadventure.net and sign up for our emails so you never miss an adventure.